Hi, this is Jen from the Career Development Center, and I'm going to walk you through the process of posting an on-campus job for students at Westchester. So the first thing that you want to do is navigate to wcupa.joinhandshake.com. In this case, it's remembering me. I'm coming back. If I weren't, it would ask me for my email address. But the one thing that I want to point out here is that you always want to log in using your Handshake credentials because you are logging into this system as an employer. And this is reserved for students on campus. So it's remembering my email address. You might have to type in your email address, but I'm entering my password here, and it's going to take me to my employer account, to my dashboard. You'll see under the job section, I can see any past jobs that have been posted, but I'm going to be posting a new job today. So I simply click the Post a Job button. The first thing I need to decide is if I want students to apply through Handshake, or if there's an external site, like if I have an application on RAM Connect or some other website that I want to direct them to. So I'm going to click Apply in Handshake. For the job title, a few things here. If it's a graduate assistant position, please make sure that you're putting graduate assistant, and then you can put the, any other title you might have associated with that. If it's a work study position, we're going to ask you to use FWS and then the specific title if you have one. Or if it's just a position that you have available on campus that's non-work study and is not a graduate assistant, you can just type the title as it is. Now, in my case, I put a digital marketing internship, and even though it's an internship or could be considered experiential learning, because it's on campus, it's always on-campus student employment. So whether it's work study, non-work study, a graduate assistantship, because it's on campus, select on-campus student employment. So here I'm going to select part-time. For me, this position is just taking place over the academic year. So I'm going to say this is going to start in January and run through the spring semester. Now, this is not a contract. This is really just giving the student an idea of when the internship is going to take place. So they don't have to be exact dates, but just to give someone an idea. The next thing on here is asking if it's a work study job. Now, the system is set up that if we have the students in here that are federal work study eligible and are marked as such, they would be the only students able to see those positions. At this time, we're not able to receive that data of students who are work study eligible, but it is something that we're working on. So for the time being, until that's all set and ready to go, even if it's a work study job, please select no. That's why we have you coding FWS in the title, and I'll show you something else you can do in the description to let a student know that it's work study. But for now, everyone should be selecting no to whether or not it's a work study job. Then the last thing on this page is just whether or not you're open to speaking with interested candidates. Most folks are going to say no because they are on campus and a student could reach out anyway. They'll have your contact information. This is really something more for our off-campus employers. So that's going to take you to the detail page. I'll keep my description brief, but really you want to make sure that your description has just a short overview of your office in case a student's not familiar with your particular area. It should definitely outline the responsibilities of the position and any qualifications that you're looking for. If this is a federal work study job, or if it's both, you can put at the top, this position is eligible for work study or non-work study. You can kind of note at the top what it is. This way, it's the first thing that the student sees, and they know if that's what they're looking for, then if they're eligible or not. You can say how many students you want to hire for this particular position, and you can put in the rate of pay. For job location, you want to use an actual address instead of just, like Lawrence Hall 225, which is what I would use for the Career Development Center. So I'm going to put in the address for Lawrence. If the student would be working in multiple locations, you can add a location, and you can even let them know that you allow remote workers for the position. For the required documents, most folks on campus just ask for a resume, but please know that you do have the option to ask for a cover letter, a transcript, or any other document. So for example, if you wanted to see a writing sample or a creative sample, depending on the position, you could request that here. So then it's going to take you to the preferences page. This is where you can select a particular graduation range. You could say you want someone who's in a particular year in school. You can give a GPA. You could also pick some major categories, and all of our majors at Westchester are mapped to these categories. So you can either go by category or you can choose a specific major at Westchester University. Now, let's say that I select that I want someone that's in their junior year, who's in the communications in that area. That doesn't mean that those are the only students that can apply. What that means is that you will have two buckets of applicants. One will be, these are the students that met all of your qualifications, and the other will be students that applied that didn't meet all of your qualifications. But I do encourage you to take a look at that, because sometimes when we try to add qualifications and screen too much, we could be screening out and excluding some really great applicants. So it's great that the system separates them, but I would encourage you to take a look at both there. And the last thing on this page is really just about how you want to receive those applicants. So because I'm the person posting the position, it defaults to me receiving the applicants. I can remove myself, or in addition to myself, I can add somebody else from my department that has a Handshake account. And if they don't have a Handshake account yet, you can create a contact record for them so that they can also receive the applicants. And then I just need to decide whether I want a summary of all applicants once my job expires. So I would basically get, here's a packet of all of the applicants, or every time a student applies, I can receive an email about that, letting me know. Or I can do both. So the next thing here is that you just want to post to a particular school. So in this case, it's an on-campus job. So this is always going to be for Westchester University students. It's asking if you want to interview on campus. This is something for external employers that run through our on-campus interviewing program, so you do not have to select that. If you do, it's not a big deal. We'll know because it's an on-campus department. But you're going to want to enter your apply start date, which could be the moment that you're creating the posting, or it could be a date in the future, and then the expiration date. So I'll set that for a couple weeks out here. This global apply start date and global expiration date, you really don't have to worry about for an on-campus job. This would be for employers that were posting to multiple schools, but you're only posting to Westchester. So the next thing they're going to do is just give you a preview of the posting. It's going to kind of show you, here's the title of it with the employer, the location. So you're just kind of making sure that, this accurately represents, this is what you meant to type for the description. This is, when you wanted the applications to close. You are welcome to share the job through any social media channels that you would like. So you could do your own advertising of the job in addition to it being on Handshake. And then finally, you're going to save that job. So Handshake has something in here where you could view students that match the particular job based on, again, those qualifications that I put in. If you wanted to do a little proactive outreach, you certainly could do that, but please know that's not required or anything for an on-campus job. So I'm in the job right now. I can see the overview. I can see the schools that I posted it to, which is Westchester University. I can see my applicants here and any of the details. If I go back home, I will also be able to see that job posting once it gets approved under my jobs here. And that approval process is pretty quick. We're in there every day, just verifying that the opportunities are legitimate. And so obviously for an on-campus job, that will go through pretty quickly. Once it's approved, you will get an email letting you know, and students will be able to start applying as soon as you have that application start date set. So that is how to post an on-campus job through Handshake. If you have any questions, you're always welcome to reach out to the Career Development Center at cdc@wcupa.edu, or to give us a call at 610-436-2501. Thanks for listening.